if we just focus on one or two things, it's just inch by inch, increment by increment, we get to do things better.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now. G'day, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, here with my wife and possibly the best co-host that any parenting expert has on the planet.
Are you sucking up to me?
Maybe a little bit. And this is Happy Families, Kylie. So we've been doing the podcast for 2 weeks, and it's been a lot of fun, Kylie. Like, we talk about stuff, but so much of family life is transactional, right? We're talking about who's going to take the kids here or do this or do that. Oh, by the way, we're the parents of, count them, six
daughters.
6 girls. For those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. I've written 6 books about raising happy families. And today we thought we'd give you an insight, just a snapshot. We're not going to give you the whole thing, but a bit of an insight into what we do on a weekly basis to try to keep our family functioning the way that we need it to, because we've discovered that intention is critical.
Well, happy families don't just happen.
Happy families, oh, that's good. Happy families don't just happen. That's our tagline for our Happy Families memberships, if you haven't discovered that yet. Bit of product placement. Nicely done. That wasn't even planned or anything. So what happened last Friday was we talked about that beautiful book, a favourite of ours, which you can find in the Things We Love section of the Happy Families website. Just such a gorgeous little book about a little boy who has a rotten day, does all these bad things. That night, his mum comes in to tuck him in, say goodnight, kneels down beside the bed. He thinks he's going to get in trouble for all the things. Mum starts listing them in a prayer to God and then says, God, help me to be better tomorrow, just in case it happens again, kind of thing. And it's just so beautiful the way there's this parent who has lost the plot a few times with her child, but is now pleading with heaven for patience. We love that idea because as a mum and dad, we get it wrong all the time and we want to do better tomorrow.
I've been reading this book for over 20 years now and it still just hits me every time. It's just such a beautiful message, and I think most parents can relate to that sense of being distressed by their lack of ability to kind of cope well in a moment.
Yeah, and the book is so beautiful that the poor poetry is overlooked because the message is so good.
You're such a hard critic.
I just got the look. Kylie refuses to watch a movie with me because I'm not critical. I just if I'm going to watch a movie, it's got to be a good movie.
Anyway, we're going to talk about something that we do every week that has such a significant impact on us being able to be better.
We call it the drum roll.
Weekly couples inventory.
I can't believe that's what we call it. What
were you thinking?
I must have been reading business books or something when we came up with it.
It is very, very business-like.
It's about creating intention for our family, though. So 3 simple questions that we ask one another every single Sunday. We're going to do a sort of a modified version of that right now. I don't really exactly know where Kylie's going. Kylie doesn't know where I'm going. So you're going to hear it raw as it will happen this coming Sunday or, in a couple of days' time. We ask 3 questions of one another.
What went well? What didn't? And what are we going to do to be better?
I love how you looked at the notes, even though we've been doing this for 3 years, 4 years, something
just
like that.
want to make sure I got the words right.
Yeah, okay. So let's go through this fairly quickly because we don't want to bore everyone with our lives.
Stop talking.
We're going to talk about what went well first, please. We're not bragging. If you can't think of what went well, by the way, just pause, slow down, do this little couples inventory, or if you're on your own, do it on your own or with a trusted friend or confidant. Stuff does go right in your week, no matter how bad the week is.
Sometimes we get stuck as a husband and wife in working out whether or not something's gone right because sometimes our weeks get so bogged down with what we see as negative that we actually lose sight of the positive. What we've found has worked really well in our family is to actually sit down around the dinner table and just say, what went well this week with the kids? And they kind of sometimes will prompt us to kind of see things in a different light. Sometimes we get so caught up in the busyness of our day and see things as negatives, and when we take a step back and allow our children's perspectives to kind of open our view, we recognise that there actually is a lot of positive going on. Hopefully today we'll be able to kind of show that a little bit as we discuss.
Okay, I'm going first. What went well?
What went well, Justin?
Thanks so much for asking, hon. What went well, it was our grade 10 daughter has been really dragging the chain around the house lately, and about a week ago, I sat down with her and said, we need to explore, explain, empower. I said, what's going on with your mornings? And so she told me and I was like, yeah, okay, well, here's what I need and here's why. And she sort of looked at me and said, oh. I said, well, what are we going to do about it? And she didn't really have anything for me.
Well, you gave her a few
I gave her a
solutions
couple
and
of
she was
suggestions.
not
didn't
happy
like
with them.
Yep. So I said, well, okay, well, I need to hand it over to you. What do you think? She came up with a suggestion. She said, if I'm ready every morning by this time, will you do this for me so that everything goes smoothly? And I said, well, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I believe in you. If you can do it, you'll have my full support. I did not think for a moment that she'd be able to do it. She has nailed it every single day. We're out the door on time. No disruption to family life as a result of it. It's just been bliss. So the 3 E's even work when our kids know what they are. Like, it's just been so good. That's my big win.
Okay, my big win. We've just started a new school with the younger children.
Yeah, so end of week 3. And it's going really well.
It is going really well. And one of the things that we loved about this as a school option for us was that it's just around the corner.
Shout out to the public schools. So for the last 10 years, our kids have been private schools. We might actually talk about school choice later. But shout out to the public schools because they are so happy at their public schools right now.
They are, and they're doing really, really well. And one of the reasons that they were excited about going to the local school was because it's only a 2-minute drive from our house to the school, which meant that we could actually walk, or better still, ride our bikes. Now, where we live, there's actually quite a few nasty hills. And so unfortunately, even though it's only 2 minutes in the car, it's about 20 minutes on a bike because we've got to navigate some pretty steep hills to do this ride. But for this last week, we've almost ridden every day and the kids are just loving it.
Yeah.
But the big win out of this entire situation is that our 10-year-old is almost doing this independently now. So I obviously have to stay behind with our 6-year-old and kind of navigate the hills with her a little bit slower. But our 10-year-old, she's just rearing up those hills so quickly. And so she's actually getting to school a full 10 minutes or so before I do. With Emily, and she's just feeling this sense of independence and achievement that she wouldn't have felt otherwise. So this is a really big win for us this week.
And it's kind of come off the back of that Lenore Skenazy podcast that we did about free-range kids and letting your kids grow.
So I've only just actually found that one recently, and yes, it definitely had an impact on my capacity to actually let go a little bit and give Lily that chance to just stretch her wings a little bit.
Here's what she said.
The illusion that we can control for every variable leads to extreme nervousness on the part of parents because there's no acknowledgement that, like, we can't control everything. We aren't God. You know, we think we are. We have the phones. We can track them. We can see who they texted. We can, there's cameras everywhere. But in fact, we're not in complete control. If you think you are, you will never be able to let go at all, because you will think if anything bad happens, there will be no grace.
All right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what didn't go so well and what we're going to do better next week. We're talking about what works well and what doesn't work well and what we're going to do next week. It's part of our, I guess, public accountability, really. The parenting expert, me, Dr. Justin Coulson, Mrs. Happy Families beside me. This is our weekly couples inventory. We do it every single week because we want to be better tomorrow. So what didn't go so well this week?
We've had a couple of things, but the main one is just we've had some really late nights.
Yeah, so I'm blaming Netflix and Apple TV. We've got a couple of series that we're enjoying. I was going to raise this as well.
No. You can't say it's just Netflix. You're coming out of the office late, and then we're coming together as a couple and, wanting to have a little bit of downtime. But because you're coming out of the office so late, any downtime we're having leads into a really late night.
Well, I was going to say the other thing is I'm probably doing too many hours. That was going to be my what's not going so well this week.
I just stole it because it's not going well for me either.
No, okay. All right, so this is the conversation that we would normally have. Of course, we would expand on a lot more in real life, which is what we'll do on Sunday. We're going to have to come up with a plan. But if we were going to focus on one or two things for next week so that our family can be better. I mean, we did that podcast just the other day about making our mornings magic. And the central thing that we identified was your morning starts the night before. And we've talked about it, but we haven't really enacted it as well as we should. We've got to get our evenings better. And I've got to get out of the office on time.
Yes, and that's all going to start on Sunday when we have our family meeting. That's where we're really going to kind of get to the crux of putting us all back on the same page.
You know, the other thing that I really want to work on next week, if I'm going to leave the office on time, let's have proper family time by making sure that at least 2 afternoons next week. I mean, there's more daylight hours at this time of the year than any other time. And for the next couple of months, we've got this. So I reckon for the next few weeks in the afternoons, let's actually schedule so we know exactly what days I've got to leave early because we're going to do some family activities. Are you in?
I'm in. That sounds awesome.
Okay. Anything else that you want to work on?
No, I think that's good. I think that's a really good start for us. I think one of the most important things to remember when we are talking about what we need to do better is remembering to just focus on one or two things. If we give ourselves a big list, and some weeks, let's face it, there's a big list of things that we could focus on. But if we just focus on one or two things, it's just inch by inch, increment by increment, we get to do things better.
Yeah, we've tried that as well when there's a list of, we need to do 10 things better because there was 10 things that didn't go well and you don't do any of them better at all. So
no, that's right.
One or two things is fine. And I like those couple of things. I think that's going to make for a much better week next week.
Well, I'm looking forward to doing better.
Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please tell your friends. Let everyone know that the Happy Families podcast is awesome. Jump onto the Apple Podcasts or Stitcher apps that you use or wherever it is that you get your podcasts and leave a rating and review. Those ratings and reviews help other people to find the podcast. We are so grateful for the ongoing ratings and reviews that people keep on sending through. Thank you so very much for your generous and kind comments. If you'd like more information about how we can make your family happier, all you need to do is look at our Facebook page, Dr. Justin Coulson's Happy Families. You can also find us on Instagram and the website, happyfamilies.com.au.